Yeah. This thing. And I was like eating chicken jerky, and I was like, dum 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 dum. Life was great. Life was great. And then I put this thing in my mouth and literally started chewing it. Like, I almost died.
You need them, I guess, in there, but I know.
No,
I've almost done that before. And I throw them out like my car door.
Explain it to me, because I don't know why you need them in there, because other foods don't have it.
Because
Freshness.
Well, why doesn't, like, bread have it?
Oxygen absorber. So it
bread has preservatives.
Yeast.
That's why some of those are.
So, like, why about potato chips? Yeast.
They're not going to go.
But this is an oxygen absorber, which is interesting.
I wish I knew what that meant.
So it doesn't dry out the turkey jerky, or any kind of jerky.
Is that what it is? Oh, you should walk around with this, Lance. Jerky.
Do not eat.
Do not eat.
That doesn't help. You did. But it's like mixed in with all the other. Anyway, this is my friend Tina Sylvester. She's really cool, and we basically have all the same friends.
Yeah.
We do all the same things, same exact industry. Both covered sports for years and years and years. And in a city, I know it seems big, but relatively
it's small. Especially when it comes to the sports group.
Yeah, and guess
people.
what?
Yeah.
Never really hung out
or talked
at all.
Like we probably crisscrossed like a Giants locker room or a Jets locker room post game or during the week on Wednesday or Monday. But yeah, we've never hung out.
And it's just I'm going to be spitting things.
And we have a lot of
common
friends.
We do.
All the photographers we worked with, same guys
over the years.
Yeah,
I know. It's a funny sentence that we throw out, like, "Oh, I probably ran into in the Giants locker room," because a lot of people would love to do something like that.
I know, and we're just like, another day at work.
Yep.
Like,
I'll see you in the Yankees clubhouse tomorrow. Yeah. I get asked all the time. I think the first question when I tell people I was a sportscaster first is,
what's it like in the locker room?
That's it.
What do you see?
That's it. Do you get to go into the locker room?
Right.
Are they dressed?
Yeah.
Are they naked?
I get offended when they're like, "Are you allowed in?" And I'm like, "Yo, what year are we in?"
Right. I used to get really offended with that. Yeah. Or the other thing I got a lot as a woman covering sports, which really made me upset, was people would say, "God, I really love watching you. It really sounds like you know what you're talking about."
Yeah. Or how did you learn? Yeah. Or
how did you learn all that? Yeah.
Who writes your stuff?
I know. It's cringy because you
really take pride, because I do. I write my own stuff and talk radio. You just got to talk.
You have to know your stuff.
Yeah, just kind of outline what you're going to talk about. But
so tell people what you do now, where you are, and all that.
How long do you have? I have like 8 freelance jobs. It's good. It's different.
It's good.
I had a full-time. I had 2 full-time jobs over the course of 12 years.
Wow.
So now I'm freelancing at about like 6 places, but I like it because I'm doing all sports.
Yeah.
It's hectic. I have to time manage. I had to get used to it. Compartmentalize.
Sure.
Like all I'm thinking about is Red Bulls is next, and then after that is NBA radio, and then after that is Cosmos. Like I just have to.
That's hard to be able to know as much and to keep up with everything that's happening. That's what I found that was really hard.
The old filing cabinet. Now I've got different files in my computer. My iPad, and all that stuff. So my main gig's NBA radio, Sirius XM.
Nice.
So host there, which is great. Only female host right now.
Wow.
Interesting, I thought.
Wow.
NBA is really progressive.
Yeah.
But it's a newer network, and I'm getting more and more shows.
Still.
Have a show filling in next week. Just found out big time on, I'm excited, on Mad Dog Radio for Adam Shine.
You are?
Yes.
That is not easy
for
anyone that doesn't know. You doing talk radio, doing sports talk is, I think, one of the hardest things. I
get nervous.
Close to.
Yeah,
you get
and
nervous.
I get like physically ill sometimes.
but tell people
because
why.
I care about it. Because I care about it. And you over prepare, because if a woman said, it still goes down to being a freaking woman.
Right.
If you say something wrong or off, you're dumb, you're stupid, you don't know what you're talking about. But if a guy says it, it's like, oh, he misspoke.
Right.
Or, oh, he had his stats reversed. Or, oh.
But I also found that people, when I was in that position, I'd get guys that always wanted to trip me up.
Oh, that's true too.
Right. I would get callers that would call in all the time, and they'd be like, hey, who was that backup quarterback for the Bills in 1987? I was like, what? Who?
Does that have anything to do with what I'm talking about right now?
No. Like, was it Frank Reich? I don't know. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. But who cares? And it was impossible for me to learn everything there was to know about everything. It would be impossible for anyone to do it.
And just because somebody specializes in one thing. Right. And that's the thing. That's what I like about the NBA radio, though. You're focused on one league.
Right.
It's a league I covered, for many years in the trenches with the Knicks. So I do know a ton about it. So I'm a little nervous about Tuesday, but it's all sports. But you're coming off Monday Night Football.
So you'll have some
NFL strong suit, cover them a lot. Baseball playoffs. So there's a lot going on. And then the social issues that's involving all sports. Not that I'm excited to talk about it, but there's a lot, and it's heavy stuff.
Right.
And I appreciate that it's not just wins and losses and stats all the time.
So you and I have both been around. We've covered a lot of teams. who's your favorite team? First of all, what's your favorite sport to cover?
It's tough because football was my first love. Kind of grew up, that was my first sport that I loved.
Yeah.
It was actually college football first, because that's what my dad was a fan of.
See, I never was. It was always the pros.
College football. And then of course, I was a big Giants fan, still am.
But were you able to stay a Giants fan even covering the Giants?
I was able to detach myself a little bit. Like that first time you walk in, you're like, oh wow, yeah, I'm here. This is Giant Stadium.
Yep.
In the locker room, and there's there's the uniform.
Right. Yeah, for people that don't know, you're actually, we just go in, like once a week, they have what's called like media day, where you get to just hang out with the players and ask them whatever you want for an hour or two, and you walk into the Giants locker room.
There you go.
You're talking to Michael Strahan, and then you're over there talking to Tiki Barber, and then, oh, there's Eli, let me ask him a question.
Yeah, that was there when I first got in.
Right,
yeah,
we were there around the same time. Yes. You watch them come in and out of
Jesse
the
Palmer, was it?
Jesse Palmer.
Quarterback then.
Jeremy Shockey was there.
Yes.
So it was a
Jason Sehorn. We're going to go through the roster.
I mean, it was a
good
lot
times. It was good times. I was a fan. But yeah, no, there's definitely that. Oh wow! But I feel like I had enough experience in college, doing internships, wanting to be there, like wanting to be in that position to get a great interview with an NFL quarterback.
We're working here. Mike, keep it down.
And this is live. Yesterday I had to cut off. I was at Yale doing football interviews. I'm like, wait a minute.
I know.
That was actually my fault.
Wait,
That was your fault?
Oh, okay.
Gotcha.
Well, we start 3, 2, 1. No. Yeah, so I think I had enough experience where you don't freak out. You know what I mean? And then sometimes, and I hate this, and I really looking back, you're not supposed to have regrets in life, but I covered the 2007 Red Sox World Series. I mean, I was right there when they won.
So I was there too. We were probably in the stadium together.
You were there in Colorado? Not 04. I was there 07.
Oh, I was there in 04.
So I covered, I was with the Red Sox for 2 years at Nesson, so that was one of my former jobs. You're in there, guys are done with champagne, but I was just stressed out about getting all my interviews, making sure I got the general manager at the OFC. Did we get him? Did we get this? And were my questions okay? And I was stressing out because I didn't look good because I was covering champagne and there was makeup running. And I was so stressed.
Yes.
I didn't enjoy it.
No, of course, and that's why I asked you.
And
because
I look at pictures, I'm like, oh my God, and David Ortiz is retiring, and this is the last time in New York, and I can't like get to the stadium, and I'm like, oh, like there's certain things.
No,
but
stressed
out
you're
about.
100% right. When people ask me, "Oh, you're so lucky you got to go cover the Super Bowl." Do you know what the Super Bowl is like to cover?
Oh, you're exhausted because you work nonstop.
You don't stop.
Monday you arrive until 3 hours after the game.
And not only that, the game itself. You don't watch the game from the studio.
I was in a
tiny room, small monitor.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I was in another building. Super Bowl 34, Rams at
Arizona?
it was Rams versus the. See, now I'm stressing when people say it's because you're a woman.
I don't even
because I have so much stuff in my mind.
No, it's because you're a woman. It's obviously
it's 1999.
Yeah. No, it's because you're a woman.
Rams Texans.
Yes, it was Rams Texans. Yep, Kurt Warner, and I was in another building watching the Super Bowl.
No, I get that.
There it is. It's over there.
So here's how it goes. You're divided into certain tiers based on where you're from. And then as soon as the game...
It was the Oilers, by the way.
Yeah.
I didn't think the Texans were in the Super Bowl.
I know that.
No, it was the same.
But it was the same.
They were the Houston
They were the Oilers.
And then you get led onto the field at a certain point, and not until then you're running like crazy people, and you're dripping with sweat, and you write down numbers that you tell your cameraman we're looking for 77 and 82.
They don't know, and they're looking through a lens.
They're looking like this, and people are running everywhere, and they're pounding into each other. You get hurt.
You get hit with cameras.
Pummeled. Like it is not an easy, joyful, glamorous.
And then you get judged by if you're out of breath, or if you were asking questions fast, or how your hair looked like this.
Yeah. It's
what we like our career.
I love the job.
I still go back to it. I don't know why.
No, I did it for a long time.
So NBA radio. I have covered 2 of the New York's 3 soccer teams. So for the New York Red Bulls, I host pregame and halftime on MSG Network. I freelance for them. Love the Red Bulls. The organization's been so good to me. It's my 9th year covering them.
Oh wow.
I host a magazine show, monthly magazine show as well for them. So that's super fun. New York Cosmos are on One World Sports. They play at Hofstra University. So we do a truncated, small pregame, halftime show, and also do a magazine show for the league for them, NASL this week. So I love my beautiful game.
My next question is going to be, what don't you do?
I'm trying to think. I'm not covering baseball right now, technically, or hockey.
Well, there's no hockey.
There is, great.
Okay, that's good.
What else am I
Otherwise,
doing?
you'd be covering it.
I'm doing college football for CBS Sports Network. That's new.
Wow.
Just started with them. I'm doing all my soccer games now. I'll have more games in November.
Okay.
I feel like there's something.
Do you have any days?
Fox 5.
You
I would fill in there.
Wow.
I'll be in there next Monday, October
check it out on my
fill in on Good Day New York. Do sports with them. I mean, yeah, it's kind of all over the place. It's freelance. Stuff doubles up. You get stressed out. Who do you pick?
Yeah.
But it's good. It's a good problem.
I was a big sports fan, and then I started covering sports, and what I found was it's easier to almost like write the story before the game ends. So if I was, say, a Giants fan and I was at the Giants game, it would be easier for me to write the story if it was a blowout. Because then you can write the whole story, get on the field,
you got your VOs,
and that's it. But then it's not a great story. But it didn't matter. It made the job easier. What made the job hardest was then it came down to like a field goal, or it came down to a last-second drive, or whatever it was.
Sports. Yeah.
Right, and I stopped being a fan because I was rooting for or against what was going to make the job harder or easier for me.
Baseball games, whoever's home.
Same thing.
8.5 innings.
And it wasn't until I stopped playing sports did I come back to being a fan, and now I crave football Sunday. I mean, crave it, and I want my girls to get into it, and I absolutely love it because I don't have to be at the stadium.
It's true, you appreciate it. And it's funny because a couple weeks I'm not at NFL games necessarily all the time on Sundays, and I got to sit on my couch and watch all the games and flip around and have the iPad going with the direct, with the Sunday ticket or whatever the heck we have, and it was fun.
So you've been in a million different locker rooms, clubhouses, all these, like, give me some of the better, more fun players to joke around and hang out with.
It was fun covering Amari Stoudemire because you never knew what he was going to wear after a game.
Oh, interesting.
Whether it was a hat, we had the Mad Hatter, we had Pharrell. I mean, we had some wild hats. One time he had on this jacket, and it was like the Michael Jackson with the military but chic,
right?
With the gold buttons, and the shoulder pads. Kind of guy who's 6'11" and has shoulders like this wide. He's got shoulder pads in. You never knew what he was going to wear. He had a grill in once, like the gold grill.
Right.
So we're asking him questions, and I'm dying because he's kind of like talking different because of the grill, and I'm like laughing, but it's like you're trying to, but I'm lost. So I'm trying to get it. Like they did, and I'm trying to get my serious answer out. So he was fun, and he was fun because I used to see him, from his injuries, he's always rehabbing, and I used to see him in the gym every morning in hotels. And we would talk about working out and diets and nutrition. So he was fun. A really good relationship with Amari. He's playing in Israel right now. It's amazing.
Wow.
He owns part of the Jerusalem basketball.
Yes, he owns Hapoel. He owns a part of it. Now he's playing for them. Wow. I think that was a really cool decision on his part
to do that.
To extend his career in that capacity by retiring from the NBA but playing there.
Didn't Allen Iverson do that too? He went and played in Turkey for a while.
And Turkey.
Yeah.
Stephon Marbury.
And Marbury's still playing there.
Stephon Marbury's playing there?
A superstar, making gazillions of dollars, both for the Chinese basketball.
Yeah, I haven't heard from him in a long time.
And the sneakers and the merchandise he sells there, they buy it up like it's how New Yorkers are when you're supposed to get a hurricane or a snowstorm, and all the milk and bread. Who eats or drinks milk and bread anymore?
I don't know.
But it's gone from the shelf
because that's
when
really
there's
funny.
a storm. But that's how sneakers and merchandise are in China. And the reason I know that is because One World Sports covers Chinese basketball. So
do you want to know what? Let me ask you a question. Maybe they don't do this anymore. And gosh, I haven't done sports since I was before the Today Show, so maybe to 2007. But I was in Philadelphia for 3 years, covered the Sixers
that's right.
very closely, and the Eagles. Yeah, and so Dikembe Mutombo was with. I heard all these stories. I mean, you hear all these stories when you're in the locker room, and these guys would. I don't understand it. Okay, so these guys are like 7'20", and they would get out of a shower with towels that were like washcloths. Like, first of all, why don't you just give them a towel that fits
for us, but for
so
them.
They need to get bigger towels. Like, they all were those towels that would just come to here and didn't quite come around. I was always like, missing something. And then they would put the NBA players on these tiny benches.
Oh, or the stools.
The stools, and they were this low. I kid you not. This is how low they were. This is what they look like sitting down. If we were in a third world country.
It was the worst because then everybody's crowding over them with cameras.
Yes, so I'm going to tell you a story and tell you if you've heard this. Dikembe Mutombo sitting here. It is a playoff Sixer game, and he's in his tiny little miniature Peppa Pig towel sitting on the thing like this. And we got in late because, as always, we were the worst station in town, and we never got anywhere on time, ever. We were oh my God. We were a disaster. We were Naked Gun, running in late always. I couldn't get anyone. Yes.
The stereotypical, you see the reporter with the microphone.
Right, and my camera guy is always get in there. And there's a scrum of 1,000 people. Get in there, right?
Although, as when you're smaller,
Tina, see, you know it. So I was I'm getting in there. Yes, we were late, but what do you have to get the story? So I get down on my hands and knees and I crawl, and I felt like I was crawling an eighth of a mile before I get in there.
Race.
It's like the
you're doing the army crawl.
However, what I came up to when I finally made air, because I didn't see, was Dikembe Mutombo sitting down just like this,
right there.
and my head, naked, was right here. I wish I was live. It was right here, and I came up, and I can't unsee that. Like, I can't unremember what I saw.
So
like,
you know it's different now.
Tell me.
And this is what's annoying a little bit too.
Underwear?
The guys, no, they all get changed in like a cubby away from the camera, especially at home games. 'Cause they've got like this the secret locker room. So then they all walk out then in their like Givenchy when they're done.
Right.
So the changing never happens anymore in the locker room. But we're standing around 50 members of the media with no players. We're like, hey, what's that?
Right.
Yeah, we're waiting for the player, so then they could escape a lot.
Right.
But the responsible ones are required to come out. So that happens a lot.
Yeah,
I mean, they still change in the and like the visiting locker rooms because they're smaller, and of course the visiting, they want the visitors to be uncomfortable and stressed out.
Oh, is that why
I
they
can tell
do
you
it?
like the worst locker rooms in the NBA.
Let's go.
Sixers are one.
Yeah, that's a terrible.
Because they have the food in the middle of the room, and there's this big pillar.
Yeah.
And then
can't get around.
and there's this huge door to the open showers.
Right.
So no, even if you turn around, you're like, oh man,
right?
You know, and so then, or then like I'm like trying to like sashay my way, in front of the open door, but it's totally open. Like they do that on purpose to make the visiting team uncomfortable.
Very strategic. Oh, there's someone looking for us. Come on in, keep walking. Lance, you know we
Sally, you're looking for us in Sally. We're over here. 710. We should start telling people 710.
I guess that would be the
I'm trying to think where else. You should put a sign.
But look, even for as storied a franchise and as wonderful as we hear at Yankee Stadium, and it's been refurbished and everything, I don't absolutely love their clubhouse. Because you walk in and they have
it helps them out.
Oh, they love their clubhouse.
The players have the. I wonder what the clubhouse in the back looks like.
Okay, so there's there's a secret. So
that's where Jeter would get dressed.
Yeah, so they all would. They have a secret clubhouse in the back, which has like an even bigger TV than the real clubhouse.
And then like
in the front
tables and like the food and the lounge chairs. Yeah,
they all have like bark loungers and they're all like hanging out.
We don't know what that looks like, but we know
because we're not allowed in there. And by the time they come
the
out,
Yankees have an empty clubhouse. They always do.
Right.
But if you go to their visiting one's nice. That's a nice one for visiting clubhouse.
I guess I didn't do many.
At the new stadium, that's pretty nice. But the old one was the worst because you were jammed in. I mean, you're talking about 25 players and staff, and it's like really shoulder to shoulder, not just with the media. You know that old one.
Yep,
that was funny.
Did you ever have a lot of pillars, right? Did you ever have any issues with men along the way? Some of the male writers can be
they're
sometimes stubborn and bullies.
It was funny. I heard you talking about bullies with your guests before. There was, and I like speaking about him. Josh Beckett was a bully. Like he was the one guy I had a problem with, not in like sexual harassment kind of way by any means, but I'll never forget. It was early on when I was covering the Red Sox, and he was this, kid out of high school, like just this prodigy. Went straight to the majors from high school, maybe had 1 year in the minors, called up, 20 years old. The guy, big fastball. So I forget exactly. They lost. It was in Baltimore, and the question was something about him sitting on the fastball, and that was the whole problem.
Right.
With
your
his
question?
pitching.
Okay.
And what do you know about throwing a 98-mile-per-hour fastball? I'm like, well, that's why I'm asking the question. And then he wouldn't answer. You're like, neither does anybody else here. So because you're talking about, I'm going to be rude.
Yeah.
The out of shape writers.
Right.
Majority of them.
No, they're not throwing
they
fastballs.
never exactly. So because foreign players are all on TV making a ton of money.
Yeah.
So it was like that, and all the writers actually then changed that day. They were like, oh my goodness. They're like, that was a great question. You were right.
Good for
he had no right saying that. So, but it still was I felt like I was stabbed in the heart.
Yeah,
because it was so embarrassing because it wasn't live, but it's plausibly live because they're taking the feed in. They may have cut it out. I don't even remember.
It doesn't even matter. Even because you're in front of people that you're all.
You'll never forget that.
Right.
But then, your skin gets thicker every year you're in the business. So when dudes blow off your interviews, or I'm not talking pregame, you're like, oh, I'm going to tell you that.
Right.
You're just like, oh, whatever. You don't get offended. You don't take it personally. So I never, thank God, had a major problem with a player. Some coaches will be a little snide back to you. You have to hold your own with Greg Popovich because he doesn't answer you right away. But if you keep asking an open-ended question, you get good stuff out of it.
Bobby Valentine, I had a real hard time.
Oh, did you?
Bobby and I actually
would fight.
We would fight.
Yeah.
They had to come to me and almost apologize on his behalf. For
Rick Carlisle was a jerk to me a couple times.
Really?
Yeah. well, you know, you get your quotes right, because I had quoted a player about what Rick had said to him. It's like about Shane Larkin. It wasn't even like a major player. And he's like, well, you know, get your story straight because we did play him. And I felt like, and I was like, well, no, Shane said this and that. And I had the quote from the kid, and I wasn't going to back down. But then, like, everybody makes a big deal about it. Like, you know, Carlisle and Sebastian sparring in pregame. No, we weren't. But he was wrong. You know, I had the right info, but it was, I don't know.
Look,
I don't care.
I get it. It's annoying for them to have to deal with answering questions. But guess what? It's part of the job.
Yeah.
Then don't be the head coach of a professional team if you don't want to take questions, good, bad, or otherwise.
Yeah.
And you think it was easy for us to go into a Mets clubhouse after a really bad loss and pepper Bobby Valentine with questions? No.
I give a lot. There's certain players who deal with bad questions so well. Carmelo Anthony does that. He'll get some dumb questions, you know, because people, you know, they gravitate to the star player, and in New York, you're going to get other kind of media. It's not all sports media, like, you know, the different bloggers, and there's some, you know,
the Chinese media. Sometimes the Chinese would come in when Hideki Matsui came to the Yankees,
exactly,
and they didn't really understand.
Or like, so their English, it was, you know, lost in translation kind of questions.
A lot.
So I would give him credit. He would be so patient.
Carmelo?
Yes.
Give me an example of a stupid question.
You know, it might have been a lost in translation kind of question. You know, so from like a foreign reporter, you know, whether it's, you know, it's such an international game, basketball. Who knows where they were from? I'm just trying to think of an example about, it might have been Chinese media about like Jeremy Lin at the time. And he was just patient, and then would let the question come, and he would answer, even if he wasn't answering the question that maybe was asked. He would just kind of give a broad. They never answer specific questions anyway. The stars know how to answer or evade your question.
Let me tell you,
he had patience. He was good. He never talked down. That's a dumb question. Or, I don't know what you mean. Or, you don't know what you're talking about.
And see how you remember that.
Never heard him say that.
Never heard him say that. That's really nice.
Or you would hear, you know, some people. What are you talking about? What do you know?
Best guy, worst sound bites would have to go to Derek Jeter. Derek Jeter was so nice to everyone.
And smart as hell.
Oh, worst soundbite you couldn't possibly have from the guy.
Owns a media company.
Jeter, you just hit a walk-off home run. You won the game. Like the Yankees were going the best way. Just trying to help the team out. You know, I came up to the plate, just did my thing. It's just another hit. Just doing my thing. And I was like,
yeah, I know. But, no, it's so true. Actually, you know what was annoying? A-Rod's so patient. So he had the best sound bites.
But those sound bites he memorized and learned before the game.
They were fake. Yes, they were scripted.
He's like, on the off chance that I go 3 for 4 today, and I'm like I'm like, you know, batting 120 with like men on base. I'm gonna say the following 3 things. Everything was
or if
memorized.
he was like 1 for 4, he would say, you know, just struggled today. I've got to do better for my team. He
memorized practically the quote, and it's a shame because what happens is, and you will know what I'm talking about. These guys like fight the media and fight the media and fight the media, and basketball players are always like, no more questions, no more this, the lights, all of it, everything's annoying. Like Patrick Ewing.
We just have to say
Patrick Ewing. Meanwhile, shut your lights up, right? And now all of a sudden he's on the other side of it, and he's trying to get players. You know, or he wants to ask players questions.
What do you need to? Like, he was my favorite player. Like, I was just like, so I was in awe, like, the first time I saw him, and then I was thrown into an interview with him in Summer League, my first year with the Knicks.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, could you get Patrick sitting sideline? I'm like, I was like, oh my God, it's Patrick Ewing.
Right.
So that was one of those moments where I was like, oh yeah. So I was real nervous. I introduced myself. Oh yeah, Tina, I know you. My son talks about you, so I do that. And he was so nice. I'm like, this isn't the guy they talked about that would have his feet in the ice,
would have no
shut your light off,
shut your lights,
you know,
lights,
shut your light. I was like, that's not the guy they talked about. So he's like my BFF.
That's really
so funny watching them change. Same thing with Jeter. He owns a media company.
I know. Isn't that funny? So, look, we sort of half complain about it, but the truth is, you know, you just kind of feed off it. Like you do.
And if you come out of it with a good soundbite, or if you figure things out, like with Jeter, I was going a lot on Sundays for Fox 5 for a while. So I was there as last year. And I was like, you know, you just have to ask about other guys in the market.
Yeah.
To get him in your package.
Yeah, he doesn't
because you want him in your package. You don't want him to be like, because you got to get Jeter, it's his last year.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, well, I could ask about whoever, you know, Cher or somebody pitching.
But he liked talking about other guys. He wouldn't talk about himself.
Talking about other guys, exactly. Or if a kid or a young kid in the other locker room said something about him, like Red Sox Yankee series, Bogarts, Jeter was my favorite player growing up, and you have a Red Sox saying that, hey, the kid said this, and he would speak to it.
He likes that.
He liked that kind of stuff. So you just got to get him in your package. That was always a challenge.
Did you ever have an athlete you were intimidated by? Whether or not you had to interview like that, you were like terrified that you get sent out. Your assignment is you have to go get the following guy, and you stress about it because it's not like anyone that scares you.
Well, Jordan was retired by the time I was a sports broadcaster, but I was at his Hall of Fame induction, so that was intimidating because I was so scared to like ask a bad question.
Yeah,
that was intimidating.
And you went playing
regularly. So let's think. Initially, Curt Schilling was very intimidating.
Oh, but I never interviewed Curt Schilling.
Yeah. But we all know he's a blowhard, and he can't stop talking now. But that's the thing, he was smart about the game. So he would always, and he wanted the media. He would act all tough because no media, but he knew being on TV. He was smart. He knew he needed it.
Right.
So once I figured him out, it was a great interview. But it was an intimidating process.
Right.
Of course, I was intimidated by Dave Ortiz. This big, poppy figure, but he had the biggest teddy bear on the face of the earth. Going into other locker rooms or clubhouses when I was on the road, especially with the Red Sox, because that was my first really big job when I was in different clubhouses and stuff. Just the future Hall of Famers. Tom Glavine was still pitching at the time. Smoltz, like you just knew what they came with, and what their legacy was.
But at least those guys were like nice.
They were. I'm trying to think in football.
I know.
They're more intimidating.
Of football too. Who I was terrified of was Mike Messina.
Because he was an intense character.
And he was very smart.
Yeah.
Right? And he would try to out-intellectualize you. So no matter how smart you were, his answers always made me feel dumb.
Yeah, Kevin Garnett.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, Kevin Garnett.
Because he would speak in like metaphors. I'm like, I don't know what he's talking about.
What is that?
What did he just say?
And I missed my writing lab.
Yeah, he was only post-game. So he was just intimidating to be with.
Yeah. I know, I was trying to think of football players too.
Ray Allen's very smart. And he would be available pregame in Celtics games. He would sit. He would have his
He's a nice guy, though.
Super nice.
He was a nice guy.
But his intelligence was intimidating.
Sure. Randy Johnson was a little intimidating.
I don't think I ever.
Mainly because we all walked up to him and we were like, hey, can we ask you a quick question? Do you think it's possible? I mean, he was so towering.
Who else intimidating?
But I don't know anyone else.
I got LeBron more when he was younger, so then when he was a superstar, it wasn't so bad. And then he's like a Jeter or an A-Rod, and this was a few years back. It was Knicks Heat postseason.
Yeah.
And this was, so we all still like hated him because he didn't come to New York, and I was like, that whole thing, LeBron. And then he's like, well, Gina, when I asked him a question, it was a big scrum, and I asked him a question. He's like, well, Gina. I was like, he's
right.
I like him again. And now I'm totally like pro LeBron on NBA radio.
So
I
haven't watched much basketball. Where do you fall on, and do you get asked a lot about what Colin Kaepernick is basically standing or kneeling for?
It's interesting. I haven't had to address that yet. I know I will Tuesday on Mad Dog Radio.
Yeah.
That's, the scope of all sports.
Well, especially since the candidates Trump and Obama just sort of weighed in last night.
Last night I didn't catch up with that.
Yeah, Obama said obviously it's an
radio.
Extension of free speech, and everyone has it. And of course, Donald Trump, you could imagine, was like, this is an atrocity.
Exactly.
He has no respect for the country or anything.
At first I was like, the national anthem. And then I heard him speak on it. I was like, you know what? The guy's prepared. And he's following through with his donations to different police funds and whatnot, or awareness funds. And he says he's going to keep a website where he's putting his money because he's raising all that extra money from his.
I didn't look at my thing. I just got an Apple Watch, and so it's ringing.
Oh, neat.
No, it's ringing on my watch, so I'm hitting.
Call later.
Yeah.
I lost my Fitbit, and I'm looking to get. I don't know if I should go Apple Watch or another.
Oh, I just did
trainer kind of thing. I lost my Fitbit. So Kaepernick. So he's prepared. So I really respect him for that.
Yeah.
And he's coming. He's answering the questions. He's not evading the media.
No.
So he has a cause, and he's sticking with it. It'll be interesting to see what happens when the NBA season starts. And they're talking about these team unity things. Like, what are they going to be doing?
Right.
A lot of players support him, but we'll do our own thing because there is so much still going on, whether it's gun control or if it's racist. So there's so much going on.
Can I tell you, it kind of stresses me out.
Oh, I'll tell you how,
What?
So I did
guarantee what you're going to say is a lot smarter than what I'm about to say.
Well, no, two things. I get stressed out as a reporter. So the first live sporting event I do right after all the Kaepernick thing, and then the next week you had other players doing it across the league, whether it was kneeling or the fist. I'm at a soccer game, and then it's in your head, well, who's going to kneel? I'm going to have to do a story on it.
Right.
And I'm stressed out. And I look to my right, and there's the Cosmos and Carolina Railhawks. I mean, it's an NASL game. Half the team is not from America.
Right. So they're
all like,
right.
And I'm like, this is such a unique situation here right now.
Yeah.
So they're there with their hands on their hearts or standing on totally at attention.
Right.
And they're playing the national anthem. And I'm like, God, I think 3 guys are American. So
really...
that was a different perspective. And I was all stressed, like, who's going to kneel?
Who's going to kneel? How are you going to cover
And
it?
then so what was interesting, I did college football. It was Utah at San Jose State. So you got a big Pac-12 team, big Power 5 against San Jose State. They played the national anthem before the players took the field. So I got stressed out about that too. I'm like, oh my God, this is going to be a big story. And it ended up not being, because the game before us was triple overtime. Thank God my Maryland Terrapins did win.
There you go.
So they came to us in the second quarter. It was such it would have been so far gone in that moment. So it wasn't even a story at that moment. But some colleges are doing that.
Right.
Because they don't know what the players are going to do. You have high school kids laying down.
Yeah.
As a form of, being shot. So it's a lot going on. I love guys that stand up for a cause. I love what the 4 NBA players did before the ESPYs.
Yeah.
Megan Rapinoe, a white woman taking a knee, and she's sticking with it, and she's trying to follow through. I think she's getting a lot of heat from her other teammates. It's all over the place.
My stress is that 5 years from now, Colin Kaepernick is going to be like, oh, why didn't I just do something with my hair? I got all this publicity, my hair looked terrible.
Or you never know. Or like speak out like what the guys did on the ESPYs. Yeah. Or
exactly.
have a major, or have a town hall.
And do something.
Yeah. They got to follow through. That's the thing, because we're keeping track.
Don't just do
they
it.
Have team rosters,
and
we're going to have
through.
the anthem rosters. Follow through, guys. So, and if they do, awesome.
Favorite athlete ever to interview?
It's fun. It's a toss-up.
Well, where did you grow up?
In New Jersey. Giants fan,
you were a Giants fan.
Yeah.
So like the first time you were in a Giants locker room had to have done something for you, right?
Yeah.
Do you even remember the first ever professional game or first game ever you covered?
It was with the Orioles, though. I was in college, so I would go along as an intern, hold the mic, wasn't asking questions yet.
Right.
I remember Mike Messina was on that team, BJ Surhoff.
Yeah. Cal Ripken.
So I never interviewed him.
Who cares? You were in his presence.
Yeah. It was during the Ironman streak when we were counting down.
Yeah.
It was definitely during that time.
Nice.
That was kind of cool.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'm trying to think. My first major interview had to have been with Boomer Esiason, because he was a Maryland grad. He was doing an event. He was with the Jets at the time, so as a New York sports fan, it was really cool. He was so nice to me. Now as a colleague, it's hysterical.
Is Johnny Manziel ever coming back?
Ooh, I know that. I cover arena football.
She's like, I know if he will or not.
Well,
here's the answer.
Here's a story. Don't know. I don't think he comes back to the NFL. I don't.
He can't get his shit together.
No, he can't.
He can't.
I know that there
he says
are.
It, he wants to. He can't.
So I covered arena football this summer. Random job. So much fun.
Yeah.
I mean, I sat
went to a game once,
on the bench. Dude's getting his open elbow like stitched, and I'm like, that's the access.
Right.
Guys, throwing up and stepping in it. Like you were in there because you're not allowed near the bench. There's all these rules, but you're in the benches. Loved it. CBS and ESPN. It was a great opportunity for me to just get on those networks. So much fun. So I know there are several coaches dying for Johnny Manziel
in the arena
to get that. Yeah. Because it'll get people to watch.
Right.
But he would. I mean, his size and his skill. You've got to be. I mean, you're in a confined space. It's no joke being an arena quarterback. So it's interesting because you don't need the arm. You don't need an Aaron Rodgers arm. Clearly, the yard's 50.
But
the
you still need
50 yards.
protection.
You need protection. You need to be quick on your feet, quick decision, view and see the field.
Oh, and you should be sober. I feel like sober would be.
That's his biggest.
He needs
problem.
to be sober.
So I know. I don't know if I don't think he gets back to the NFL.
Tim Tebow, going to be successful or not?
Did you see that freaking home run?
Yeah, but he was playing against like the JV team at Horace Greeley High School.
But still,
come on,
it's kind of cool.
No, but anyone with his girth is going to hit something. You don't think he's going to step up to the plate having not practiced?
That's true.
And I don't even know the story, but whoever's pitching, I mean,
I know.
It
was 91 miles per hour.
Was it 91?
It was 91. Not bad. Does he make it to the majors?
No.
I was going to say no.
You had to think about that?
I had.
The answer is actually no, and if he does, it is a publicity stunt. They will sell.
Well, that's the thing. I'm a little concerned.
Yeah, I know. The Mets might actually sign him.
That's the thing.
Yeah. There's no way Tim Tebow can't Bo Jackson his way out of anything. None of this. He can't Deion Sanders his way into or out of it.
It's
done.
fun, and you know what? And here's what I liked about his quote after. It was Tim Tebow. It was along the lines of, it was so fun being in a game again, playing a game that I loved, being part of a competition.
Yeah.
It was fun. And that was kind of cool. He wasn't like, yeah, man, I'm going to the majors. It was a great first step.
Right.
You know, it wasn't really about the home run. It was fun.
I saw a really cool, it might have been a documentary, I'm not even sure, or a series of videos, I think it was a documentary, on how Tim Tebow trains and gets mentally and physically prepped, like a gym session. If anyone has an opportunity to watch this, if anyone has ever been to a gym, I have, go back in TiVo and Google it and see where it is. So I took like 5 minutes of his workout, and I'm obsessed. You know I'm this stuff. Okay? I mean, obsessed. So I took 5 minutes of his workout, and I wrote it down, and I was like, well, I'm going to do this. And I have better stamina, than anyone I know, and then really, seriously. And
I see the box jumps.
All of it, right? I got 3 minutes into this routine, and I was dead, Tina, like dead. This guy did 5 straight minutes.
So this was for football or for baseball?
It was for football.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so this was just a regular training session, and none of it was heavier than I would have done.
Right.
So it was a lot of stamina, cardio,
and
aerobic and anaerobic, back to back, no rest, sit-ups, throwing balls, into hip-ups, into jumping over, into squatting down. I took 5 minutes of it. I could put my athletic prowess up against many.
Yeah.
And I have to tell you, I was really, really impressed. The guy he may not be that talented, and there was always question coming out of college whether he had.
If he would have switched positions, he'd be in the NFL. He wasn't going to do it.
He wasn't going to do it.
And you know, that's his stubborn side. Well, he's competitive, so that's why he's playing baseball now.
Exactly.
I give him credit for it, but he sticks to his guns.
He sticks to his guns, but he's well prepared, and he's well spoken, and he's good looking. But
so that's
right,
good for the
didn't
TV
want
side.
it. It's good for the TV side. I don't know. I think he might peter out, but he's fun to watch.
He's trying to do it.
Should check it out. This was so fun. I could talk to you for 3
and we can talk about all the
hours.
whole fitness and like health stuff too.
Do you work out?
I do, not as much as I should. I go through waves.
Yeah.
Like I'll go through like a 4-month period where I'm doing doubles.
Doubles.
And I'm counting like my macros.
Wow.
And I will get like, you know, ripped, like shredded.
And then,
like I'm a bigger girl, so I don't get like skinny, but I get like ripped. I build muscle fast. And then like something will happen, and like I'll put all that back on.
Yeah, but then you'll have something to take off again.
That's true.
Yeah.
I'm doing Orange Theory Fitness right now.
You like it?
I like it because it gets me out. It gets me to the class.
Right.
It makes me like do 9.5 on a 2%.
Yeah.
Where I wouldn't do that normally.
Orange Theory is a
yes, it's a fitness program.
Fitness gym program in, I think it's just sort of in the tri-state area. I'm not sure. Is
I
it
saw
across
it
the country?
in Phoenix, which is what caught my eye.
Oh,
and
okay.
I looked
So
it
it
up.
has
So it's big in Jersey, New York City, and yes, I'm doing that. Like I'm trying to get it in 3 days a week to force me to get there because my schedule's spooky.
I know. We have to.
But I like lifting. And I like the old school.
I love it.
Stuff.
Excellent. So
we'll do it
come
again.
back, come play with us again.
Yes, this is so fun. The
Did
best
we just
studio
scratch
ever.
Yeah, right? Just pick a New York City rooftop. Let's sit out in the living room and let's have some fun.
Awesome.
And
Good luck with
talk
this. This
sports
is
and all
really
of it.
cool.
Thank you. And bring one of your fun soccer players back over
I
here.
will.
Do that.
Game. We'll do
yeah,
that.
because I want to know more about soccer. And we have Christian Fuchs coming on next week, who actually plays more.
And we got a bunch of guys, especially on the Red Bulls, that live in New York. They'll like walk down the street.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
I would love it, but with you.
We would do it. Absolutely.
Awesome.
Well,
so when's the next time we're going to see you, Tina? Like, literally.
Oh, you mean TV?
Yeah, so people can watch or listen.
That's right, this is live. This Saturday, Red Bulls on MSG Network, 6:30 pregame show, so I host pregame.
Nice.
So I'll be on right there, 6:30, do the in-game reporting, the halftime, all that jazz.
Awesome.
So that'll be the next TV gig, and then Sunday morning, NBA radio.
Awesome. And everyone should follow her and watch her and get into social media because you are fun to watch and follow.
Cool.
Cheers.
Thanks, Jenna.
Thanks so much.
Awesome.
All right, we're going to take a break.